Welcome back to my garage, everyone. In this episode, we're going to go a little bit further with the little micro metal lathe that I purchased recently, and I'm going to try to use it to make a few accessories for the lathe. I'm going to try to turn a few little knobs. And in the process of doing so, learn how to use the lathe and get it adjusted a little bit better. I've been playing with it, and it seems to work a little bit better than when I first started playing with it. So let's get right into it. Here we go. I'm using the bench supply to supply variable voltage to this little micro lathe so I can control the speed. And at some point I'm going to make a controller with variable voltage supply, but for now I'm using the bench supply. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm using a center drill to put a hole in the end of this thing here. And then I'm going to use the live center. I was able to get a check for the tailstock here. So let me install the live center. Well, I left out a step. I'm going to drill a hole first. So let's do that now. I think that needs to be just a little bit bigger for what I'm going for here. So let me go up a size. All right, I believe the entire problem with this thing is that there's too much wobble here. Because when I hold this real steady, I get a nice, clean cut. I think that's the problem. So I'm going to have to figure out how to cure that. All right, I'll ponder this and come back tomorrow and see if I can figure out what to do with it. But the first step in solving a problem is to define the problem, and I believe I've done that. Now, it remains to be seen whether I can fix it or not. One of the viewers recommended that I tighten this one up real tight and use this one to move the cutting tool in and out, which should reduce the flex. And that makes perfect sense to me. So I went through and tightened everything up, readjusted the tension, I guess you'd call it, on this, the X-axis and the Z-axis here, as best I could, using these little adjustments on the side here. And it really seems to help a lot. That's a really nice smooth cut there. I still applied a little bit of pressure by hand here, but it's much improved. So I'm still working with this thing, trying to get it all set up and adjusted correctly. Actually, I think it's working pretty good. After I finish this little project, I'm going to try it on a piece of brass, and hopefully that will work. I don't remember exactly where I left off with this thing, but I have reconfigured it and done away with the riser blocks because it was just too unstable when I was using those. And I'm trying to turn a piece of brass here, and it's working much better because it's just more stable and everything's locked down pretty good. So I have to admit I cheated a little bit, turned this piece of brass rod down on the wood lathe with a file just so it would fit in the chuck here, because it has to be small enough to fit in the chuck without the jaws of the chuck hitting the rail here. So anyway, I'm doing a little bit of cutting here. The object is to try to turn a little knob. So I'm going to do that, and we'll see how it goes. Working much better. There's a burr right there I need to get off. I don't think that looks too bad. Starting to take shape a little bit. So when I get through, I'll show you what these things are going to be used for. But this is mainly practice and learning how to set the thing up, and it's learning its limitations and so forth. It does have limitations, but it works if you keep those limitations in mind. Here's the results of my playing with the little micro lathe. I turned this little brass knob with a bolt through here to give some more leverage. I'll show you how that works in a minute. And these two Delrin knobs. So these are just kind of a little practice project for me, and I'll show you what I use them for. These knobs are to replace the Phillips head screws that we use to adjust the tailstock. Get that started. So you don't have to use a screwdriver whenever you want to move the tailstock. You can just, beforehand you had to get a screwdriver out now and just lock it down with these little knobs. And there is a, you have to use a Allen wrench to get inside there, but this makes it a lot faster and easier to set up the tailstock. The little brass knob is used to replace the Phillips head screw to hold the cutting tool down. And you can crank it down like that, or probably you're going to need some more leverage. So you can put this little lever in there. And you can use that to crank it down pretty good with. So That's what that's for. Works pretty good. So I'm kind of happy with the way that the little lathe is capable of turning brass. I don't think I'd try anything harder than that, but I wouldn't hesitate. I'm not going to hesitate to make any little brass knobs or possibly little brass pins or something like that with this little lathe. So there you go. I enjoyed that little exercise, and for that, as long as you understand its limitations, I think it works pretty good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little experiment with brass turning with the micro lathe. I did. I thought it was kind of fun. So hopefully it'll be somewhat useful in the future. I have some more upgrade plans for this little micro lathe, but I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get to it. I've got quite a backlog here. But anyway, I think one of the updates I have in mind is pretty interesting. So that'll have to wait for another time. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave me a comment, and we will see you next time. Bye now.